More coaches have been hired and Sean McDermott has been fired. Tonight, we recap the latest breaking news in the NFL. Plus, we break down the national championship game between Indiana and Miami from last night. Plus, our top 5 sports moments of 2025 and so much more. Our Nation Sports Show is next. The following is a feature presentation of our Nation Sports Show. Tonight on the Nation Sports Show, we recap the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. This past weekend, 2 of the most wild, insane, breathtaking games were played during this year's NFL season. The Broncos and the Bills, and the Rams and the Bears were decided in overtime. Total domination by the number 1 seed in the NFC, the Seattle Seahawks, over the San Francisco 49ers, and a symphony of destruction committed by C.J. Stroud against the New England Patriots. Now, Championship Sunday is complete. The Final 4 stand, but only 2 will advance to Super Bowl 60. Tonight, we make our predictions for Championship Sunday.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
Well, we're finally here. After a failed launch, which is something Steven knows about, we finally got things going here. It is our Nation Sports Show, and we are live once again. Thank you very much. I am Ezra Vickery, and we thank you guys for joining us as always. We got a loaded show for you this week, as we always do. It's going to be off the charts. We got, of course, the divisional round is wrapped up, and now we're heading into championship season here with the AFC and NFC championship games. And speaking of championships, last night, as Steven alluded to in the intro, we had our national champion crown, and we'll talk about that as well. Some NBA news, including an injury to one of the greats of the NBA, especially in this generation. Devastating injury that's going to put him out for a good long while. We're going to talk all about that in just a few minutes. We're hoping to have Joey Thornton join us in just a little bit once he's able to. Kevin, unfortunately, will not be with us tonight, but with me right now is, of course, as I always say, my heavy metal brother from the great state of North Carolina, and a man who is more successful, well, not at picking, NFL games, but very successful at drumming, Mr. Big Stevie Wyand. What's up, man?
And loving good music as well. What is going on? Speaking of good music, and I know we talked about it off and on, you finally got around to listening to the new Alter Bridge album, which if you haven't heard it already, go ahead and check it out. It is heavy, it is phenomenal, and it is one of their best albums in their discography. Such good stuff on that album, top to bottom, really good stuff. One of my favorite bands, going strong for 20 plus years. And right now they're on tour in Europe, and they're coming to the States in April. Man, just a great record. Already one of the best albums of 2026. And looking forward to more great music this year. and also what we're here to do right now. And we are talking about the world of sports and what a lot is going down in the last 24 to 48 hours when it comes to the news, when it comes to the headlines, when it comes to everything taking place across the NFL, the NBA, college football, and a whole hell of a lot more. So, with that being said, let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this before the homemade chili I just ate before the show puts me to sleep. Let's get this train rolling. Man, where do we begin? What a week. I think we should start off with, of course, what happened last night, and that is the NCAA championship game between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Miami Hurricanes. And the result is, of course, for the first time in school history, with a perfect 16-0 record, the Indiana Hoosiers are now your national champions of college football. Congratulations are in order to the Hoosiers, to Coach Signetti, to Fernando Mendoza, Kyron Black, the whole entire Hoosiers I was gonna say organization, but the entire school, the student body, everybody who's been around and supported this. Took this school 2 years, and they finally were able to turn it around and was able to make it to the championship and win it all. And
And
also real quick, also want to put this out there, since we are talking about the championship game. There was some breaking news that was reported earlier today, and that is that Fernando's little brother, Alberto Mendoza, is entering the NCAA transfer portal. Now for those who don't know, that does not mean that he is leaving. As many of you know, with the NAL program, they are allowed to explore other options very similar to free agency. So when they enter a transfer portal, it allows them to view their options, see what NIL deals are going to be paid for them based on the team they're going to, and also the opportunity they could get to possibly win a championship or a division, a conference title, whatever the case may be. So just because Alberto is entering the transfer portal does not mean he's going to be fully leaving Indiana right away. So, but that's just big news coming out of there after the championship win, that Fernando's little brother Alberto is going through the transfer portal to see where his options are.
what a unbelievable story last night for these Hoosiers. And Indiana has never ever experienced a high like this in their school's history. Last year they won for the first time 10 plus wins in a regular season. This year even better. 16 and 0. 16 and 0 with one of the greatest Heisman Trophy winners in college football history. Mendoza, man, this kid is poised. He believed in his team. He believed in his teammates, his coaching staff. He believed in everybody around him, and they believed in him. This was a total team effort, and he was so full of emotions last night after that game. Even dropped an F bomb on ESPN radio, and I cannot blame him at all because having that raw emotion hit you like that, like a ton of bricks, and just overcome with all of these emotions of all the doubters, the critics that said you're not going to do it. You're what the hell has Indiana done in their existence? They haven't done nothing. And he said it last night. If you believe in yourself and people believe in you and you believe in everybody around you, you can accomplish anything. And I'm like, exactly. And you know, and I will say this before I give my thoughts on the game. Miami last night, if I'm being honest, they were very physical and at times very dirty towards Mendoza because there was a couple of shots that he took during especially that first half, especially when he got banged up. And I'm like, dude, like I understand you want to be physical with the kid, let him know that you're here. You're gonna let him feel it. Because it is a physical game. But at the same time, there's a way to be physical, but in just a regular way instead of a dirty way. And I think they were being very dirty last night. What were your thoughts on that?
Look, football is not ballet, as we say the same thing
No,
about professional wrestling.
no.
Do I think some of the plays were a little dirty? Maybe on that toe line, but you got to understand this kid is a very young kid who doesn't have a lot of, he's had some experiences, but nothing to this level. And to me, I think this is, while yes, there was some penalties that should have been called on him, I think also too that this is a learning experience. And I think also too that he's going to have to learn the hard way that just like what happened last night, there's going to be players that are going to be coming after him. There's
Sure.
players that are going to be chasing him down, wanting to, not harm him, but to, they're going to want to take him down. They're going to want to rough him up and say, "Hey, we're here. Don't forget about us." And that's what the Hurricanes did last night. They said, "Hey, we're here. You're not going to walk through us. Just because you want a Heisman doesn't mean a damn thing. You're not going to step over us like we're stepping stones to a championship." It's going to be the same way in the NFL if he faces people like Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons or Max Crosby or Aiden Hutchinson, or any of the linebackers, any of the defenders. There should have been, yes, I'd say there was one or two plays that Fernando got hit with that should have been called for a rough in the passer or unsportsmanlike conduct, but it's a game of football. They let a lot of stuff slide last night because it's the biggest game in all of college sports, basically outside of the the Final Four and all that stuff, and when it comes to March Madness. And I think
And that
personally,
goes with any sport, whether it be NFL in the NFL or NCAA when it comes to football, like you said with March Madness, even in the NBA with the postseason. Because when the postseason begins in any sport, they tend to let things go and they tend to let the players be more physical. And
yeah, it's so that way because that way the refs don't dictate the outcome of a matchup as big as this, because that's the last thing you want as an athlete, especially if you're on a team sport. You don't want the refs dictating how the game is going to go. We've seen that so many times in the NFL where the refs make these calls in the regular season, which absolutely can change a game, turn a game on its head, cost a player a game sealing or a game helping touchdown or an interception that gets called back because of a foul on the defense.
and we've seen in the NBA where officials have blown the whistle and have called fouls or whether it be defensive or offensive fouls that have changed the game
Back fouls, yeah.
and how the game was flowing. And so it happens. And I agree to a certain degree when it comes to letting it go. But if you're gonna be calling it one way during the regular year, you have to be consistent throughout the postseason. But I get it.
Yeah, I get there's gonna be people that are unhappy about it. And look, am I thrilled about some of the shots he took? No. But that's also up to his offensive line to protect him and make sure he doesn't take those kind of shots to
Oh,
keep.
but I tell you what, he was hell of a motivated last night after getting hit a couple of times. I mean,
Yeah, and
because
I personally think that's what he needs in a way, is for him to take a couple of shots like that, because he's got to get used to it. Because you think Michael Parsons is going to let up? You,
hell no,
you think Mason Crosby's going to let up, or Max
hell
Crosby?
no,
I mean, once he gets back from his knee surgery, no,
no.
not even close. They're going to come in there and they're going to want to absolutely wreck him. So
And his performance last night, I thought was top from the top of the game to the end of the game at the bottom. I thought overall it was a really good performance, and he had one of the most unbelievable plays in football, and one of the most unbelievable plays that you will see in when it comes to the entire calendar year of 25-26 as a whole. I mean, that fourth down play where he took the ball and broke tackles and ram it into the end zone for a touchdown. That right there changed the complexion of that game. And even though, and I got to give Miami the devil is due, because Miami at times took punches, and then they threw their own counter punches and haymakers, and they came back in that game to make it a game. And they weren't going down without a fight. And just the way Indiana kept playing, they just kept grabbing the bull by the horns and not letting go. And then Miami would do the same thing, and everybody was just all the best players at the skill positions were coming out and playing, and they were making humongous plays. But in the end, there had to be a winner, there had to be a loser. And Indiana came out as the winner with a game sealing interception. And congratulations to everybody. And I know they worked hard for this, and never had they experienced this. And now we can firmly say that the Indiana Hoosiers are forever now also a football town. It's not just the Colts.
Yep, Bloomington is now officially a football town.
Yep.
So congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers on their first ever NCAA championship win. And now to get to celebrate and all that stuff the next couple days.
Oh, and I know the head coach was enjoying that cold beer last night.
Oh, he was. It's the first time I've seen him smile the whole season.
Yeah, that's what Urinating Tree posted on Twitter last night. He said, legitimately, that's the first time I've seen him smile. Holy shit. I'm going, yep. I mean, he was almost possessed, with winning. He wanted to win so badly. He kind of reminds me of Ben Johnson, the way he's so poised during the game. Ben Johnson does not let his emotions shine throughout really the game. He lets his emotions flow after the game if they win.
Yeah.
But man, what a victory for these kids. I mean, just unreal. I mean, you got to think, man. The city of Indianapolis has experienced one hell of a ride in the last year. The Pacers took the Thunder to the NBA Finals in 7 games, led by the Halley, Tyrese Halliburton, and the rest of that Pacers squad. Took them to the brink of winning a championship. Ultimately fell short of their goal, but still a remarkable run, for the Pacers. And then Indiana, 16-0 for the first time in school history in winning a championship in college football. I mean, it is unreal. And even though the Colts season didn't go the way they planned, but the way their season started at 8-2, their season was going good. So the city of Indiana is got a lot to be excited about.
Yep, state of Indiana does. Indianapolis, Bloomington area is going to be rocking and rolling. We'll see what happens next year.
And as we all know, it is hard to defend that championship crown.
It is.
Because you got a lot of people coming after you.
Not too many back-to-back winners in college football.
No. And also, it's interesting, the Big Ten has had 3 of the last champions. Michigan, Ohio State, and now Indiana.
Yep. Well, we do have some breaking news, though, coming out of the world of baseball.
Oh, we do?
2 baseball players have been elected to Cooperstown. Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones have been elected to the
Wow, Mr. Beltran.
Yep.
What a career. What a career. All those great years with the Cardinals. Monster home runs.
Beltran had 84% of the votes. Andrew Jones had 78, and everybody else behind him did not make the 75% threshold. And some of the names on that are Chase Utley, Andy Petite, the King Felix Hernandez, A-Rod, Manny Ramirez, Dustin Pedroia, one of my boys, Mark Burley, Omar Vizquel, Torrey Hunter, Ryan Braun, Francisco Rodriguez, Edwin Encarnacion, Matt Kemp, Hunter Pence, Alex Gordon, You know who wasn't on that list?
Oh, let me guess. Bonds.
Well, not Bonds too, but also, well, I mean, obviously because of the steroid shit. But
Correct.
another name who's not on there because of the steroid shit that should be on there, in my opinion, Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different story for a whole nother day. But congratulations to
I'm
Beltran.
sorry, but can we? I understand that the MLB doesn't like to acknowledge the steroid era, but come on. Baseball's popularity was through the roof in the 90s, the
I'll
80s,
give
and
you I'll
the
give you another
90s.
name, Mark McGuire.
Mark McGuire. Exactly. It's an era. There's all, like, think about it. There's been people that have gotten advantages. Bill Belichick, for Christ's sakes, in the NFL. I mean, Belichick, you know, did some cheating tactics, but people still regard him as one of the greatest coaches. Spygate, Deflategate, and people still regard Belichick as one of the best coaches that ever existed. So if you're going to acknowledge Belichick, so let's just play devil's advocate here. If if Canton, Ohio decides, hey, we're going to put Bill Belichick in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you need to put the people that put your sport in baseball on the map in the 90s during its boom period. I understand they don't want to acknowledge the steroids and all that type of shit, but at the same time, think about this. McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, these guys made you money. Money. Made you money. And you're going to act like it doesn't exist? Give me a break. They need to go in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. What are you sorry for? You can't be sorry for anything that you didn't do, but also you can't. I mean, outside of the intro, which took us a while to put together because you didn't put the
I
clips.
mean, I mean, I mean, hey, shit happens. I mean, hey, we're live, pal. And
I know, I know, I know.
yeah.
I just like messing with you, so
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, that's what I do best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you wonder why you still keep me as a friend here on the show. I don't get it, but whatever. Moving on. Moving on, because trust me, we can go all night doing this, and I'd win anyways. But let's see here. Going on right now, speak of the devil as I'm heading to somewhere here on ESPN, Major League Baseball. Checking a few other things here. Let's see here. Free agent Jorge Mateo and the Atlanta Braves agreed to a $1 million one-year contract after Ha Seong Kim injured his finger during practice. Also, as well, the Rangers have signed reliever Jacob Eunice to a one-year deal worth about $4 million.
And another news came down the other day. Kyle Tucker has
Yep,
signed with the Dodgers.
yep. And I know there's going to be people out there say, there goes the Dodgers again, buying himself another World Series.
And according to reports, uh, MLB owners are enraged by the Kyle Tucker deal with the Dodgers are pushing
Four
for a
years,
salary cap no matter what.
4 years, 240 mil.
And here's my thing. I understand people don't like the Dodgers because they're successful. Let's just call it like it is. Shohei Ohtani, Dave Roberts, and company have been successful the last 2 years in baseball. Hell, you're sick of them winning? Beat them. Toronto had their shot to beat them last year in the World Series, not once but twice, and they blew it.
I wish I was that successful in the picks, then I'd probably have that belt delivered to my house and not hijackers. Good lord.
I
But
mean, if the owners are that pissed off and mad about it, then why don't you put your own baseball team together that has a better roster that is more consistent, that can still hit, that can still pitch, that can still defend and do all the necessary things to win you championships in Major League Baseball.
Okay. Let's stop with the. You said earlier. You said salary cap. Let's be for real. Let's be for fucking real here.
Correct.
The salary cap is in name only. The salary cap is in name only. Why do you think a player, 3 years ago, got paid $750 million for a 15-year contract?
And that would be Otani.
Why do you think that somebody who just got signed, Tucker, got paid for 4 years at 240? 240 mil. To me, I'm sorry, but that's just way too much money for one person.
And I agree with that. But see, here's my thing.
Baseball's never had a salary cap. They always overpay. Look at what happened with Giancarlo Stanton. They paid that guy $325 million for 13 years.
Right.
What happened? He was a bust.
I agree. I agree that it's a joke. But
Bobby Bonilla. They have to pay that man every fucking year.
Yep. I agree. It's a joke. That they don't have a proper salary cap. I get that. I firmly agree with that. They should have a salary cap in place and they shouldn't be being paid this kind of money. Well, if you're that pissed off, then beat the Dodgers.
Yep.
Simple. Beat the Dodgers.
It's not that simple, man.
If the Dodgers would have lost to the Blue Jays last year, people wouldn't be up in arms wide open, about this shit.
Oh,
Anyways.
oh Lord.
Anyways.
Oh Lord. Have mercy. Oh man. This is worse. This is worse than hearing that the fucking. This is worse than hearing that Mike McCarthy is actually getting interviewed for a coaching job.
Oh dear God! Don't even get me started on that bullshit.
Well, we're about to get into it here in just a minute. But obviously, there's some breaking news. Not breaking news, but news we got to get into about the UFC. This week, as many of you know, UFC 324, the first event, pay-per-view technically, but now the first live event to ever be broadcasted on Paramount Plus for all subscribers. It has a big change to it.
Yes, it does.
And that is unfortunately the fight between Kayla Harrison, the UFC bantamweight champion, the gold medal judoka, and Amanda Lioness Nunez, the new UFC Hall of Famer, former double champ, has been called off. Kayla Harrison had to have surgery on 2 discs in her neck that needed to be repaired immediately. From what we know, she should be okay. Everything should be good. But right now the fight is off. There is no replacement fight because it just happened over the past couple weeks, so they had no time to put a replacement fight together. So I mean, it doesn't change the main event because the main event will still be Patty Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, regardless. But still, one of the mega fights on that card with the return of Amanda Nunez is off.
Yeah, and hopefully this fight can happen down the line because
it will.
When this fight finally does happen, the reward is going to be so worth it because these two ladies are going to throw it down in the octagon when it happens.
Yes, they are. Let's see. Anything else? Let me think here. Trying to read real quick here and see what's going on. I don't think there's anything really in the world. Oh yeah. I mean, there was some NHL news from the other night, and that was that, of course. Well, I mean, it wasn't news, but it was just something that. It was just something that was cool to watch, and that was that for the first time since leaving the Blackhawks due to his ongoing health issues, and first time since he joined the Winnipeg Jets after he had those health issues taken care of, Jonathan Toews came back to Soldier Field. That or not Soldier Field, I'm sorry, the United Center. And it was a really cool moment. They played a long video package for him, paying tribute to him. He uh came out there and thanked the fans and waved to the fans and all that stuff. So it was a pretty cool moment. That's pretty much it all I got in the NHL because there wasn't anything big that happened this past week. So but it was cool. Congratulations to Jonathan Tays, of course. His
Very cool.
contributions to the Blackhawks will always be remembered. He's never not a Blackhawk. Once won, always won. Same thing with Patrick Kane. So congratulations.
Very
But
cool.
yeah. But now let's get into the NFL.
And there's a lot. A
Oh
lot.
shit. Where do we begin? Oh yeah, let's talk about the fact that John Harbaugh is now a New York Giants head coach.
As Adam Pierce would say, it's official.
And it was all they had to do was draw up some numbers and all that stuff, and he signed on.
John Harbaugh is making the moves that he wants to do, including bringing offensive coordinator Todd Monken along with him on board. And good for him because I know him and Todd have a relationship for the last couple of years that they have grown together. And obviously, that's what reports were saying that Harbaugh was let go from Baltimore because they wanted to get rid of Monk. And he was like, "What? You're going to get rid of him?" And then they're like, "Yeah. And also, you're out of here to get the fuck out." That's basically what they said. And, so I mean, but I understand why Harbaugh wanted to keep him because he was also a huge part in Baltimore's, mostly their success the last couple of years with the offense, with the Ravens. But now that's his prize in possession, and the Ravens don't have him no more. So if I'm the Giants, and if you're a Giants, player or fan of the Giants, you should be happy with this football team because now you're going to have a legitimate coach who has won a Super Bowl, who has had success with the Ravens for the majority of his 18-year tenure with the team that I want to go play for him because that is a huge name sign on the dotted line.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to see where this ends up because Harbaugh had his first meeting. He had his he is he went to the offices last night for the first time
Mm-hmm.
with GM John Scowen and his wife, and got to introduce himself to some of the office people and some of the staff. Then he went today to the practice facility and met the players. And after greeting each and every player, shaking their hand, said, "Let's hit the weight room."
That's awesome.
And so he wanted to see them work out and see how they do. So,
That's dedication.
yeah,
And
you can
training
tell.
camp and all that stuff hasn't even started.
Nope, you could tell he's fully invested in the future of this franchise, as he should be. He's 60 something years old. He's on it for 5 years. He's got a 5-year deal now to stick around. So we'll see what
Mm-hmm.
happens.
A lot of pressure, but Harbaugh's up for it because when he was announced as the Ravens head coach, replacing Brian Billick, coming in on board, that was a huge role to fill, and he did.
Yeah.
So I know he's up for the task because clearly he wouldn't have signed, if he feel like he wasn't good enough for the job, and he didn't believe in this organization. Because clearly the Giants do have some pieces on that team, like Jackson Dark and Scattaboo, at running back, and they have young receivers, that are very talented. But it's just a matter of staying healthy and being consistent. And now that they have a head coach, now that they have an offensive coordinator that has a good resume, it's time to prove yourselves.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see where that all leads for that team. We'll see. We'll be keeping an eye on it, of course. Um, Obviously, I'm going back through, and a lot of it's about the interviews, but also in other college news, because there's been a couple college news, is that Oregon safety Dylan Thieneman is leaving school early to declare for the NFL draft.
Hmm.
He is on Mel Kiper's draft pool. He's predicted to be one of the top safeties and a projected top 50 pick. Also, other news like he reported this time, Adam Thielen has officially hung it up. Of course, the legendary legendary Minnesota Viking, after spending time with both Pittsburgh and Baltimore this season, no, just Pittsburgh, announced that he's hanging up the cleats for good. 13 NFL seasons and a two-time Pro Bowl selection.
Yeah, this could be seen a mile that this would be his last.
Well, he even said it. He even said it that this year is more than likely his final season. That's why he wanted to leave Minnesota to play for a team that could possibly contend for a championship, because he knew Minnesota's hopes had been sunk for a long time.
Yeah. So at that point, you couldn't blame the guy, for for wanting to sign, with a team and have a shot to win it. But obviously that didn't happen with the Steelers. But predominantly, I thought Thielen, was a very solid receiver. When he was young and healthy and all those years with the Vikings, he was really good.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh yeah. Dante Moore, the quarterback of Oregon, has announced that he's going to be returning to school for the 2026 season.
Smart decision.
He's a great quarterback, great guy, great eyes when he's able to scan the field and all that, but I feel like he needs another year under his belt to really sharpen the tools that he has.
Yeah.
Just after not this week's games, but the week before last, Bills officially placed wide receiver Terrell Shavers on injured reserve. So he was done before this week's games, obviously. We talked about the Harbaugh situation, obviously. Um, let's see. I'm going down the line here. I mean, I'm just going through Shefty's Twitter feed because it's easier to do that than try to go to NFL.com and try to look at whatever else. Although we could do this, we do have a new head coach for the Tennessee Titans, and his name is Robert Saleh.
Yes, we do. And I think this is a very smart hire by Tennessee. Because knowing Salah and the fact that now he doesn't have a control freak like Aaron Rodgers under his belt, in his ear. Hey, don't do this, don't do that. Now that he's in firm control of a football team as the head man, I think that he's got and listen, Tennessee does have some pretty solid players. It's just that the previous coach sucked. I mean, let's call it like it is. This team really wasn't great, as a full team. But with the right draft picks and signings in the offseason, I think they have potential. Not maybe in year one, but as the years go on. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But in more college news, the Oklahoma Sooners have a new tight ends coach, and he comes from a short drive in nearby Texas. His name? Jason Witten.
Wow.
That's right. The former tight end of the Dallas Cowboys, the future Hall of Famer, is now the tight ends coach for the Oklahoma Sooners.
What a job. What a job for Witten.
Yes, definitely congratulations.
I think he'll do good with that.
Yeah, I think he will too. Sam Darnold, if you guys don't know, has been fighting through an oblique injury. You know what he had to do to get through this game this past weekend?
What's that?
Tramadol.
Wow.
Obviously, a very powerful painkiller he had to take to get through this week's game. And we'll talk about the games in just a few minutes once we run through what we have to do here. In ESPN news, Vice President of News David Kraft will be leaving after a 30-year career with ESPN. Let's see as I scroll through the line here. Because obviously there's
Oh, also in the NFL, Kevin Stefanski is the new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
yeah, and you know who was also interviewed as the head coach too?
Who's that?
Antonio Pierce.
Ah, the former Raiders coach.
Yep, he was interviewed as well for that spot that position.
Hmm. You know, you were talking about Mike McCarthy, and potentially Pittsburgh is going to be interviewing him. And if I'm sorry, I am sorry, Pittsburgh fans, but if Mike McCarthy is going to be your next head coach, then you are fucked.
Oh yeah, they screwed on more levels than you think.
You are totally screwed if you sign him as on the dotted line as your next head coach, because Mike McCarthy does not have the best track record when it comes to being successful as a head coach, because predominantly when it's him that's in control, he's not very successful. Because let's be honest, if it's not Aaron Rodgers, if it's not Dak Prescott, then what the hell is he? Nothing. Nothing. Aaron Rodgers was the reason why Green Bay was so good, predominantly in his prime. Not McCarthy. Sorry. Not sorry.
No, Mike McCarthy's a hack.
Mike McCarthy is a fraud. I mean, what is this? Is this some way, some gimmick, to try to get Mr. Rogers to, Aaron, could you pretty please come and play one more year with Pittsburgh, please? I promise you'll get you that second Super Bowl. If he decides to come out of that darkness retreat once again and play with the Steelers, I hope that Pittsburgh finishes under 500, because that's one thing I also believe in, karma. Because get ready, Pittsburgh, because if McCarthy is your head coach, you're screwed for eternity. Mike Tomlin gave you successful regular season winning seasons at 19 years, no under 500 records. I don't give a damn who their next head coach is. You are going to experience mediocrity in the four corners of the basement.
Yep. But yeah, also too, another name that was interviewed for the Ravens head coaching job was Chris Shula.
Mm. That's another thing that's also interesting to me is this Ravens situation. Who in the world is going to be their next head coach? Because there is no telling who the next head coach is going to be for the Ravens.
Yeah, because they've interviewed a lot of people, but have not made a decision yet. You know who is sticking around though, and he's got an extension. That is Matt LaFleur of the Green Bay Packers.
This right here is one of the dumbest moves that Green Bay could ever make. Green Bay fans have been screaming from the rooftops to get rid of this guy the last couple of years that he's been dragging this team down. I mean, we're talking about the same guy who was on the Atlanta Falcons' infamous 28-3 team that lost the Super Bowl against the Patriots almost 10 years ago. Will be next year. 10 years ago next year. And you want to keep this guy around? You know, I think this is a very bad move for Green Bay to keep LaFleur around, because he's not a great coach. He's he has his moments where he's okay, but to me, he's just not consistent as a coach. I don't believe in that guy. I don't believe in him that I would want to, run through a brick wall, for him like I would if I was playing for Chicago and Ben Johnson. Because LaFleur this year experienced one of the roughest, you know, turnarounds in NFL history with a football team. Because remember, back in September, everybody was talking about, oh, Green Bay, Super Bowl bound team. They're gonna run roughshod over the NFC. Didn't do shit. But get their asses whooped, not once but twice, by Chicago. And bounced out of the playoffs.
Yeah, they're gonna make their own bed and they're gonna have to lie in it whether they
Yep.
want to or not. And that bed's not made of cheese. But
As James Storm would say, sorry about your damn luck.
yep, now somebody give me a beer. Former Giants head coach Brian Dable is expected to be interviewed for the Eagles offensive coordinator spot.
Oh, okay. Here's a guy, Kevin
Now here's a
Patullo.
guy.
Kevin Patullo, he sucks. Brian Daboll, I think I would stay away from him, Philly. I don't know.
They should have stayed away from fucking Nick Sirianni.
They're both hacks, anyways.
Yeah, bunch of hacks. But let's see. Steelers are, like you said, are expected to meet with Mike McCarthy.
Idiots.
Let's see, real quick. Oh yeah, that's right. Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, is now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
They suck too.
Man, all these interviews are like, yeah. Look, I understand somebody get an interview. Can you just tell me if they're a coach or not, please? Make it easy. Make my job easy. Come on, guys. Get it together here. I know who's not a head coach anymore at this time, and that's Sean McDermott.
Yep, he is history.
Breaking news that broke early in the morning on
Yesterday.
on Monday, yeah. That Sean McDermott has been let go.
And this, I have mixed feelings on it.
I feel like he's being scapegoated.
And I agree with that because, okay, my thing with this team is, and I've been saying this since the news broke yesterday, and we talked about this in our chat as well. Who the hell is else out there that can be credible? Because there is not a lot of name value coaches that are out there left on the market because a lot of them are getting scooped up by different teams, such as Harbaugh, Stefanski, potentially even McCarthy. He's a name. You know, there's a lot of coaches out there. Tomlin's not going to do it because I think Tomlin's going to go on the TV, as he should, because Mike Tomlin, as we talked about before, he's a personality. There is not a lot of coaches out there left on the market that could coach this team because Sean McDermott led this team in 9 years to the most wins in a long time for that organization. 98 victories, 50 losses. That's great. But where he stunk up the joint, the playoffs, 8-8. And I'm sorry, but if McDermott is getting shown the door, then how in the hell is Brandon Beane still have a damn job? How do you promote this guy to be the general manager of football operations? Because as you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
They didn't do shit for Josh Allen. They didn't give him a number 1 wide receiver, a number 2, a really credible backup to James Cook. Their defense is ass. Their defense let Buffalo down in the worst possible way, and we're going to get to those games here in a few minutes. But Sean McDermott, I will give him this. He stood up for Buffalo in that controversial, no matter where you stand. If you agree with the interception call, didn't agree with it, one thing you can agree on, universally agree on. Sean McDermott stood up for Buffalo. He said in that press conference on Saturday night, I'm standing up for Buffalo, damn it. And he was. And I bet you there was a guy on the other side of the corner of the room that was like, dude, this is your last press conference. Get the hell out of my sight. Unfortunately. And I feel bad for the guy. Because, again, You know what? If I'm Sean McDermott, go to Baltimore. Go to Baltimore. You have Lamar Jackson. You have Derrick Henry. You have Zay Flowers. You have Mark Andrews. You have all of these talented players on the offensive side of the ball. They have some good, defensive players like Kyle Hamilton. When they're healthy, they're pretty solid defensive group. Just gotta, sign some, better players and draft a little better. Otherwise, Baltimore, get a coach. Get McDermott. He's out there on the market. Get him. And I agree, with Kevin. And I agree with you. He's been scapegoated. There's a conspiracy to get him out the door.
conspiracy.
Yep.
As Matt Taven would say.
It's a damn shame. Because now, if you wanted to fire McDermott over the 13-second game back in 22, fine. I get that. But they kept him around. But the bottom line is this. Brandon Beane and that Buffalo Bills organization did not do Josh Allen any favors in the last couple of years. Josh Allen had to be literal Superman and put that team on his back for them to have a shot to go far in the playoffs. If you gave Josh Allen talent surrounding him, maybe he wouldn't have to work so hard and get first downs and have, to try to make chicken shit, and turn it into chicken salad. I feel very bad for McDermott right now. Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Yeah, it's I find it very interesting about this situation, but uh what I also find interesting is the Lions OC pick. And that
I
is
do too, and this is a very bad pick.
Drew Petzing, which, by the way, this motherfucker looks like a cross between Jim Norton and Lord Voldemort with the way his ears are and his
Oh, God.
bald egg-looking head. He looks like he looks like this is no slight to anybody with this, but he looks like one of those like kid cancer patients that WWE does Make-A-Wish for. Good Lord, man. I mean, he I'm not sure whether to put him on a coaching staff or a sexual offender list. But yeah, bad pick. But you know
Very
what?
bad selection by the Lions. Sorry.
No, yeah. But you know what wasn't a bad one though?
What's that?
And that is that pretty much, even though it hasn't been fully, I don't think 100% confirmed that Eric Bieniemy is returning to the Kansas City Chiefs to reunite with Andy Reid.
And this right here, to me, is a perfect signing by Kansas City. You go back to the team that you had success, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. Eric Bieniemy was the man behind Patrick Mahomes and that offense that made them great. Because again, like we have talked about before on this show, it's not just about the players. It's also about the coordinators. Because the coordinators are just a very integral part in how a football team is going to be successful. So if Bieniemy is returning to KC, good move. Because there are going to be some building blocks for this team if Travis Kelce does call it a career in a couple of months.
Yeah. Also too as well, we mentioned about Robert Saleh, but we also got to mention about another name that's being interviewed for the Steelers head coaching job, and that is offensive coordinator Brian Flores from the Vikings. I think that's a guy that could do well as a head coach for the Steelers, to be honest.
I think so too, and I think he'd also do great for the Ravens.
Despite what some people in our Zoom like to say, Marks.
I think that Flores could do great for Pittsburgh or for Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. And Tampa Bay has a new special teams coordinator.
As they should.
His name, Danny Smith, the 50-year veteran of coaching.
Holy smokes.
He's a special teams coordinator. I forget for which team. It might be it was another team close. But he's been around for a long, long time.
He's about as ancient as Elder, for Christ's sakes.
No, Elder's older. Like that's just that's not even a question. Like that's not even a question. You can't do that. Okay, right here. 50 years into his coaching career, Smith is still going strong. But yeah, he's going to be the new head coach or new special teams coordinator for the Bucks. Also, real quick, finally to end the news so we can get to the scores. By the way, Joey will not be joining us for the show tonight, so he sent in his scores.
Okie dokie.
So, I mean, there's obviously 2 games, so this show's not going to take too much longer. But
No.
So if you guys suffered enough, don't worry, it's going to be over soon. I'm telling you, man, these picks are going to suck, but then again, no different than this show. Falcons named Bill Callahan as their new offensive line coach. So there's that for that. And then finally, the NFL announced their Super Bowl officiating crew.
Ooh.
So here's other people you can yell at, throw death threats at if they screw up your favorite player's play.
And this is on Sunday, right?
For the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So February 8th, get your pitchforks, your letters, and your torches ready, because these are the names you get to hunt down. The umpire will be Roy Ellison, who has done 3 Super Bowls in the past.
Okay.
Down judge Dana McKenzie, who did, I believe, the most recent Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Line judge Julian Mapp, field judge Jason Ledet, side judge Eugene Hall, back judge Greg Steed, and replay official Andrew Lambert. And the referee of the entire game will be Sean Smith.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
He's officialed a couple of Super Bowls before.
Yep. All right, let's get into the games real quick from last week. Obviously, I mean, we got time, but we also don't because we ran a little late because of the technical issue.
I do.
What's up?
I do want to get the garbage out of the way first before we get to the good stuff. And first and foremost, Seattle absolutely made San Francisco their bitch.
Yeah,
in 12 seconds.
Yet. Well, I mean, yeah, obviously, yeah, they did. They did.
I mean, Rashid Shaheed with that kickoff return for 95 yards, that was the end of the game. Right then and there. Took 12 seconds, and that pretty much flipped the game on its ass. And San Francisco could not respond. They couldn't get nothing going. Anytime they had a drive going, Brock Purdy was turning the ball over, whether it be fumbles, interceptions. The running game couldn't get nothing going. That Seahawks defense is ferocious.
Ooh, I have some. Baker Mayfield went off on Stefanski.
Oh, shit.
He said that he can't. He said right here, says with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback clearly taking exception to the Atlanta Constitution Journal's Orlando Ledbetter's tweet opening or opinion that Kevin Stefanski had a dumpster fire at quarterback at Cleveland. Mayfield and Sean, he said, failed is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on a text or call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach.
Oh, baby, get my popcorn ready, damn it. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good.
Popcorn.
Front row knows all about that. Anyways.
Give me the Homer Simpson treatment here.
Yes.
Yeah, front row definitely knows about that. By the way, share that popcorn with us. Reach through the screen. Do something. Don't be selfish. Help a play out. Holla.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a 41-6 loss. I mean, that was just
Sam
he.
Darnold didn't even have to be great. He was just there.
But he wasn't. He was battling an oblique strain. It took that.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, he had to take tramadol last
Yeah.
time to
But
freaking.
that's the thing. That's how good this defense is. Darnold didn't have to be great. He just had to be good enough.
But
And he was.
but also too, but also too, you got to look at you got to look at this fact, and that is well, not this fact, but you also got to look at what Seattle's going to be playing without coming up this week, and we're going to talk about that
Yup.
in a few, and that's Zach Charbonnet is done for the year. He tore his ACL in that game.
Yup.
So one
Yup.
of the main weapons in his running back game is completely gone now. So it's going to be
Yup.
interesting to see where this ends up.
And listen, I mean, San Francisco had a lot of injuries throughout the season, into the postseason.
See,
And if you are San Francisco, time to go back to the drawing board, sign some more players, draft again. Hopefully Bosa, hopefully Warner will be healthy all year next year to have a great run and run it back potentially. And hopefully it's a better year next year for San Francisco. But man,
That's-
that Seattle defense is just nasty.
yeah. And then another game that was a really close one was what happened on Sunday night, and that is the Rams squeaking by the Bears, 20-17, in another epic comeback from Caleb Williams in the fourth quarter with an unbelievable pass.
Okay, so I know you told me, but tell everybody out there about your reaction to that play as it happened in that fourth quarter.
Okay, well, as usual, I had my eyes covered except for the one corner, watching the corner of the screen, which I was mainly watching the field to see where the field, where the ball was going, where the players were going, so I can get an idea of whether to watch or not. Well, as I started watching it and I saw the field start to drift backward and backward, I'm like, Caleb's going to get sacked. Or this is going to be an interception, or it's going to be a throwaway. Soon as he throws the ball in the air, I move my hand out of my face, and I watch that ball sail, 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 and then it lands in Cole Kmet's hands. And I just sit there, jaw dropped, unbelievably stunned. And I said, the first thing that came out of my mouth, how does that motherfucker keep doing this? And the reaction wasn't lost on me, but the reaction I thought was unbelievable was Sean McVay. Sean McVay's eyes looked like they were about to pop out of his head. He couldn't believe it. And
And
there was people on the sidelines there's people on the sidelines over there who also couldn't believe that Caleb did that. You know, whether it was his own players or whether it was the Rams. Unbelievable throw. Unbelievable throw. Mike Tirico's call, absolutely call of the year. One of the calls of his career in general. Absolutely electrifying.
and Kevin Harlan's call on the radio was electrifying as well. And Harlan said it himself. If you did not see it, you wouldn't believe it. And that was a perfect description. Backing up to the 40-yard line and flinging that ball. Perfect spiral on that ball. And it landed in Kmet's hands. Perfect. A dime. Over 50 some odd yards for a 14-yard touchdown. And listen, this game, to me, and I'm not just saying it because you're on the show every week, but this to me was the best playoff game of the week. This game flowed very well. I mean, it was a snowy field in Chicago, lots of snow on the ground, wind blowing everywhere. A very strategic game played by both McVay and Johnson. Both coaches coaching their asses off. And yeah, Williams did throw 3 picks, but what can you do? He had a really good attitude about the following the game and giving credit to the Rams, and Johnson did too as well. And if you are Chicago, there is a bright future ahead of you. 11 wins this year, division winners nonetheless, in your first year with Ben Johnson as head coach. I thought this was a great, fantastically well played game. The officials did not step on it. I thought Sean Hockley and his crew coached or refed a hell of a game. They let the players play. They didn't step on the game and make it all about themselves. This game went to overtime. The ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows of this game, top to bottom, incredible shit. Just a great game. Two teams playing great ball, making big plays. I mean, Stafford making big throws, Williams making big runs, Nakua making big catches, Devontae Adams, when it mattered the most, making spectacular catches. And like you said, Caleb Williams with another incredible fourth quarter drive to tie the game. Now, the one thing I will bring up that is still rather interesting to me is my honest opinion. When I was listening to this game on Westwood One, I was thinking Johnson's going to go for two because you got Stafford on the other side of the field. If this goes into overtime, you don't want to give arguably the MVP the ball, who threw 46 TDs in a regular season. So if it would have been me, what the hell have you got to lose? You just scored to pull within one. You want to go for the jugular? Go for two, because you already had the momentum on your side with that miracle of a touchdown. What are your thoughts on that? Because I was honestly surprised that he played for overtime and he wasn't being aggressive and going for the 2-point conversion and potentially winning the game.
Yeah, and you know what? As I said before, three interceptions, a late start in the second half was not the formula to win, but that's okay.
No.
But that's okay. You know what? Mistakes are bound to happen. No excuses for me. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Team had a great season, great run. Now let's move on to next season and prepare even better.
But the one thing you got to take account into, they beat the Packers twice. So
Yep.
that's one good thing.
Yeah, them cheese sucking nerds still suck.
And speaking of sucking and great transition is, you know who sucked? C.J. Stroud.
Please, let's go into this. Let's go into this because this was bad.
Fucking terrible. Fucking terrible on both sides of both teams. They both sucked, except for the Patriots defense.
Patriots defense is great. Drake May had butterfingers and couldn't hold on to the ball to save his life. You had C.J. Stroud who was just throwing it up in the wind and hoping somebody would catch it, but most of the time it was the defense.
He was just throwing up ducks, just like quack, quack, oh, quack, quack, just randomly throwing up random ducks and hoping and praying that it was going to land.
4 interceptions.
And not just that, but there was a couple of throws that should have been picked off. I mean, I'll never forget listening to the Westwood One call. And I'm going, are you kidding me? Bench this guy. I text you frantically. It's like, this guy needs to get sit down now. Now. C.J. Stroud was bad.
Drake May had 4 fumbles.
And a pick as well. So between both teams combined, you had 8 turnovers. 8. And I don't give a shit who comes out of the AFC.
No, you actually had 9.
9? Oh, God.
You had 9 because you got to think. 4 interceptions for CJ, 4 fumbles and an interception for Drake.
He had 9 turnovers.
Yes, 9.
9. So, yeah, I don't give a damn who comes out of the AFC. You're getting your asses whooped by Seattle or the Rams. This was a very bad playoff game. I mean, C.J. Stroud was horrific in this game. The turnovers that he had, costly mistakes. And he can sit there, or he could stand there in the press conference and say, oh, my confidence isn't shook. Bullshit. Bullshit. And Kevin has said it on this show time and time again. He needs to be studied. C.J. Stroud's regression from one of the best gunslingers in the modern NFL to absolute sucking the life out of the Houston Texans and that great defense, yeah, there's some problems going on with Houston, and they need to be solved real quick in the offseason. Because I'm sorry, D'Amico Ryans should have kicked his ass out the game and put Davis Mills in. Because let's be honest, Davis Mills went 3-0 with the Texans last year on to start out that winning streak that led the Texans to where they were in the playoffs. CJ Stroud predominantly did not dominate those games for the Texans. He made his occasional throws here and there. Now, I'm not making excuses for the guy because he still made plays years ago when Collins went out with concussions or knee injuries, or when Tank Dell went out with those injuries. Stroud during his rookie year was still solid. He still made best of what he had. But ever since his rookie year, he's been dog shit. Dog shit. And he keeps on regressing like this. Ain't nobody going to play with him anymore again.
Yep.
And Drake May, he's a great kid. I love that kid. He's a solid player. But man, oh man, oh man. If he somehow survives the AFC Championship game against the Broncos, and we're going to get to that game here in a second. If he survives the Broncos, he will not survive the Rams or Seattle. He is a young player. He has talent, but he doesn't have the experience that Stafford does, or that some of these, players do that are on these teams. Because Darnold has experience because he was a backup to Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl. He played in games that were big. And obviously Stafford's track record speaks for itself. He won a Super Bowl with the Rams in 21-22. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I agree with you. This game was terrible. And the Bills and the Broncos was the other game that happened over the weekend. And this game, just like the Rams and the Bears, was crazy.
It was crazy, but it came with a heavy price, and that is that, unfortunately for the Broncos, Bo Nix will not play in this coming week due to a fracture that he sustained in his ankle during overtime.
I will never forget this because I remember when the game was over. And then I get a text message from Ashley. And little did I know she sent that text message, then you said it in the Zoom saying that Bo Nix ain't playing. And I'm like, the hell? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, he's got a fractured bone in his ankle. I'm like, oh my God. Like, that is unheard of. And it blew my mind that this happened. And even though the Broncos won this game, both teams lost. Because the Bills lost, obviously, because their season's over, but the Broncos lost because they lost their quarterback. And Bo Nix played his best game as a professional this past Saturday afternoon. And in the process, in the second to last play, breaks a bone in his ankle. And he had surgery earlier today in Alabama. And this game was crazy because Josh Allen had 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, including that hideous turnover at the end of the first half, carrying that ball like a damn loaf of bread, and just nonchalant, carrying the ball. Now, I will say, that was on McDermott because he called that play. So that was on him. What a terrible call to call that play and have Allen running that ball and flipping that ball to nobody. And Josh Allen made some good plays, but he also made some boneheaded plays. Not just the turnovers, but he also missed some critical throws that could have won the Bills the game. And also, and I know this was a huge talking point, was it a catch? Was it not a catch? I say no catch because you have to survive the ground. You have to complete the notion and the motions of a football move all the way to the ground. If you're going to roll on the ground, you got to roll with the ball on the ground in your hands. You can't half catch the ball, roll over, and then it's live, and then the defender, if he's there, can take it. And that's what the Broncos did. They took the ball away from the Bills. Brandon Cooks caught the ball, and then McMillan sees that the ball is live and says, I'll take that. Thank you very much. And that went as an interception. And that was Allen's second pick of the game. Not only that, but what cost the Bills the game was the multiple misses that could have gone for TDs. The miss to Knox in the end zone. That was one of the biggest misses of the game. He hits that in stride, they're going up 7 and then going up 8. And then Bo Nix having to go down and drive the field to score a tying touchdown and that 2-point conversion. And also, while we're at it, the Bills' defense, terrible in this game. Absolutely terrible. Costly penalties. Now, I know the first pass interference was kind of a, ticky-tack call, but that play that Joey Bosa had, that was costly because that was obvious. And then the second pass interference that was called on Tre'Davious White, that was obvious too. So the Bills shot themselves in the foot with penalties and turnovers and very bad mistakes on both offense and defense. But obviously, the Broncos suffered the worst loss of all, and that is their quarterback, Bo Nix, breaking a bone in his right ankle, and he will miss the duration of the season, whether it be just a championship game this Sunday or if the Broncos make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, basically it was put all once again put the cape on Josh and try to take the team to the promised land, and it didn't work out this time around once again.
You had no Burrow. You had no Lamar Jackson. You had no Patrick Mahomes. Your kryptonite. No Mahomes. No Lamar Jackson. No Joe Burrow. And you still couldn't get it done. Because Josh Allen is a hell of a player, hell of a quarterback. But he's not a winner when it matters the most.
No.
He cannot win the big one.
Yep, and that leads us to the two games that are officially coming up this weekend. So let's do them. And that is, of course, the AFC and NFC championship games.
And I'm so glad the AFC Championship game is the first game.
And the good thing is, with both games now, I could breathe easy because my Bears ain't in it. I don't have to stress anymore. That's the one good thing about the Bears losing. Now I can retain a few more years off my life now. Good Lord have mercy.
All
But
right, so you said Joey sent his scores, and I got Kevin's scores.
yep, Joey sent his. Yep, I got it.
All right, and I'll read Kevin's.
All right, so we're going to start off with the AFC Championship game, and that is Broncos and Patriots, of course.
Let's see. Kevin's got the Patriots in a close one, New England 20-19.
That man's got to be smoking something.
Whatever he's got, it's a hell of a drug.
Okay, it's a hell of a drug. Let's see. Joey has on here, if I could get back, he has Broncos 27, Pats 23.
Wow.
Despite Nick's not playing, that D could still get the job done. It's what my last girlfriend told me.
Anyways, um, I'm gonna go with the Patriots in this one. I mean, let's be honest. This NFL season has been drunker than shit. Like, there's been some crazy things that have happened this.
After this season with the Bears, I need about as many drinks as that it's been.
Yeah, I know, right?
Good Lord,
Um,
a bottle of whiskey.
yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go with the Patriots as well. I think it is gonna be a close one, but I think the Patriots are gonna barely survive the Broncos in this one. I think it's gonna be an ugly game. I think Drake May's gonna make a couple of plays to win this game. I think the Patriots are gonna win this game 21 to 17.
Patriots win this one 27-24.
Mm. And then finally, the NFC Championship game, round 3, fight Seattle, LA Rams in Seattle.
Joey has the Seahawks beating the Rams 24-21.
And
That
Kevin,
He says that Legion of Boom D will get tested by Stafford for sure, but the Seahawks will punch their ticket on a game-winning field goal.
and Kevin has the Seahawks as well, 27 to 24. This is tough because Stafford is very familiar with this team. He's also familiar with the big spot, playing in these big games. But I think that Seattle defense, as they call it now, the dark side, is going to make more than enough plays to beat Stafford in the end. I have Seattle on a game-winning field goal, 23 to 20.
I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go the Rams.
Wow.
The reason why, I don't trust Sam Darnold in that offense. No Zach Charbonnet. Sam has been battling the oblique strain.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a consistent thrower. You got to in the defense, while their defense is really heavy and really high powered,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about Matt Stafford here.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Puka Nacua,
Mm-hmm.
who's considered by many to be the best wide receiver of this whole damn season.
Making circus-like catches. Insane.
We're talking about Devontae Adams, when healthy, is one of the best wide receivers and running backs in the fucking game.
And talking about running backs, Kyron Williams is a hell of a back
Kyron
himself.
Williams is a beast, and you know what? That's why I'm picking the Rams, but it's going to be a close one. It's going to be not on the shoulders of Matt Stafford, on the leg of the thicker kicker, Matthew Bevis. Give me this one in a close one, 26 to 23.
Ooh. Okay. Man, it's hard to believe that we are coming down to the literal end of the NFL season. Championship Sunday is this week, and in 2 weeks, the Super Bowl.
Which means next week's show will probably be like 40 minutes. Lord knows, because literally there's no games after that. Literally we got 2 games to cover this week. Whatever news reports come out about the head coaching situations, and then the only thing we got other follows the other news of the world, and then also too. Once you got to think, after this week coming up, we got a break because of the Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be insane to see how we fill the time. We'll find out, but that's pretty much our NFL news reports and predictions for the week. If Hijacker's anything, we'll post it up on our social medias or whatever. We'll let you guys know. Hijacker, of course, is very busy. Election stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is native state of California in the Bay Area, and also, of course, running the cigar shop. So,
Oh, yeah. Busy dude.
a very busy man. So, real quick, we're going to get into some NBA news, and that's going to close out the show. And the biggest news of the week actually came down late last night, and that is that unfortunately, one of Golden State's premier players suffered a devastating injury. That being former Chicago Bull, that is Jimmy Butler. Unfortunately,
Yeah, this sucks.
yeah, fortunately, Butler last night suffered a torn ACL. He is done for the remainder of the season.
Yeah,
Big
this
loss for
sucks.
Golden State.
And I mean, these teams are, not healthy at times because it's a long season, it's a grinding season, and it's unfortunate, that stuff like this happens in any sport. And Butler, was riding a high, with this team. He's finally found a team that he's happy to be with. Him and Steph Curry, tearing it up, and his brother Seth Curry, and Draymond Green's still there. And it just sucks for Golden State because now that you only got really one number one option on that team, and Curry, and Steph Curry, that is, man, he was his true sidekick. And Butler, when he gets going, he's hard to stop. And you know this being a longtime Bulls fan. Because when Jimmy Butler was younger in his career, when he first came into the league, that dude was scoring in bunches. That's why they were calling him Gets Buckets Butler. Because he was that good. And he still is. But man, this is a devastating loss for the league.
Yeah.
Also, very interesting of note, for the first time in 21 years, LeBron James will not be selected as a starter in the All-Star game.
Interesting. Well, I have other news too, and that is that Thunder will be losing Jalen Williams for a couple weeks with a hamstring injury.
And that's the thing. And what's also interesting about the Thunder is even when J-Dub has been out, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and company were tearing the league up still. But man, that's one thing that the Thunder are going to have as the season, rolls on, especially in the postseason. You're going to have all your guns blazing. And the Thunder, they have the talent, to potentially run it back. But as we all know, it is hard to defend that championship crown. So I think they'll be fine because he still got SGA. They still got Holmgren. They still have those great shooters. They still got Caruso. He still got other people that throw the ball to and score in bunches.
Yeah.
But that's still a big loss for the Thunder.
Yeah. Let's see what else here. Let's see here. Josh Giddey for the Bulls is nearing a return after dealing with a hamstring issue of his own. He's currently designated to the Windy City Bulls to continue his rehab, and he is very close to coming back. So that's some good news for the Bulls on that retrospect. Real quick, as we cut down to the end of the show here, I want to check out the regular season standings and see who's still in the running. So for the Eastern Conference, 1 through 6 right now, we have the Pistons, who are 5.5 games ahead of the Celtics. And then a game and a half behind them is the New York Knicks.
Who got embarrassed last night.
Yes. And then a half game behind them is Toronto. Philly, half game behind them, and then a half game behind them is Orlando. Pretty tight race for those last couple of spots. And then also Cavaliers, Heat, Bulls, and Hawks round out 7 through 10 for the play-in.
Yep. But obviously we got a way to go.
Yep, we still got a way to go here. All-Star break will be in February, so we're going to keep an eye on that as well. Thunder, currently, of course, 36-8 right now. 5.5 games ahead of San Antonio. Only a game behind them is the Nuggets. 2 games behind the Nuggets is the T-Wolves. Rockets are only half a game behind the T-Wolves. And then Lakers are at the last spot only half a game behind the Rockets.
Talking about the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama is tearing up the league, man.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. And then you have the Suns, Warriors, Trailblazers, and Clippers rounding out the play-in spots for the Western Conference. But keep an eye on the Memphis Grizzlies and the Mavericks, as they're only half a game to 2 games behind that last spot.
And speaking of the Grizzlies, it is going to be interesting to see what the Grizzlies do because reportedly Morant could be on the move in that before the trade deadline. So we'll see what happens.
Also, too, the Hawks are on the bubble of possibly getting taken out of the spot for now, as the Bucks are only a half a game behind the Hawks right now. So that's just to let you know about that real quick. And I do believe that is it for tonight. Do you have anything else you want to run through, Steven, before we go?
I think I'm good.
All right. Then let's go ahead and wrap up the show for tonight. Steven, final thoughts, and you know what to do.
Yes, I do. Great job with you. The two-man power trip, if you want to call it that. If you know what that reference is, then I appreciate that. Great job tonight. Thank you to everybody joining in here live and on demand. Thank you to Joey and Kevin for sending in their scores for Championship Sunday. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens this Sunday in Championship Sunday with the AFC and the NFC Championship game. And also, if you are here in North Carolina and across the Carolinas this weekend, stay warm because a winter storm is coming. And yeah, we're going to get snow, ice, freezing rain, all that winter shit all in one mix. And it's coming. And yeah, I'm staying my ass inside where it is warm and cozy, and I ain't going out. I'm just going to sit back, relax, enjoy the sports, enjoy the wrestling, and also shout outs to the guys and gals at TNA Wrestling last week. What a hell of a debut on AMC. And TNA Genesis was this past Saturday in the great state of Texas, highlighted by Mike Santana and the former world champion Frankie Kazarian in a Texas death match, refereed by Ryan Nemeth's brother, Nick Nemeth. That was a really cool match. Mike Santana retained the title. Great match by those guys. Also, very entertaining triple threat match with Joe Hendry. Very cool that he was able to appear in TNA, replacing
Leon Slater.
Leon Slater, who was on SmackDown in England on Friday night. Very cool. Wrestling for the United States Championship. And speaking of WWE, it's also going to be very interesting as we are now entering the Royal Rumble. And Cody Rhodes declared for the Rumble. Jey Uso, declared for the Rumble as well. Rey Mysterio and so many other wrestlers have declared for the Rumble. And also Gunther, a.k.a. No Fun Guy, will face the phenomenal AJ Styles. And what is on the line? AJ Styles' career next Saturday at the Rumble. And we'll see what happens with that. Lots going on in the world of wrestling and the world of sports. You can follow us on Twitter or X at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/The Sports Show. Also on the YouTube channel at YouTube.com/The Sports Show, where we are live on most Tuesday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Pacific. And while we're at it, let's cover the bases. 5 o'clock Mountain Time. And great job tonight. You can also follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter or X at Nation's Corner. Facebook, the Instagram, and the YouTube channel are all at the Nation's Corner. Join the guys and gal as they recap the world of professional wrestling at the Nation's Corner on Saturday nights, mostly when there is not a PLE or pay-per-view permitting that. But that has happened in a couple of occasions the last couple of weeks. And the guys and gal are live every Saturday, predominantly 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Pacific Time. Great show with you tonight, my friend. And again, if you're in the Carolinas and wherever you are, Northeast, Midwest, it doesn't matter where you're at. There's a winter mix coming your way. Stay the hell inside where it is warm and cozy. Great show here tonight. Thank you to Joe and Kevin for sending in their scores for this Sunday's games. Enjoy the wrestling. Enjoy the sports. As a wrap us up, my friend.
Yes, I will. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it as always. We thank you guys all the time because we truly love the fans who watch the show. Like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family. Leave a comment, leave a like. It helps us out. We appreciate you guys very, very much. And trust me, we're going to have a loaded show again next week leading up to the Super Bowl, as well as next week. Next week, we are going to do the top 5 moments of 2025 in sports. We were supposed to do it this week, but logistics and everything kind of got in the way. So we will do it next week for sure. We're going to have a lot of time to fill, so definitely we'll get that in. But enough of me yakking, enough of me boring you guys. NXT is on, so I'm ready to watch it. So for Kevin Rory, for Stephen Wyand, for Joey Thornton, Hijacker Mike, and everybody in the Sports Show Nation, I am Ezra Vickery, and we will see you right here next week, with another great edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. We will see you all next time. Same YouTube channel. Peace out, and have a great week.
Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up.
Thanks for watching this week's featured presentation of our Nation Sports Show.